Hey everyone, I'm Evan Olin.
And I'm Andy Large. Welcome to Tattoo Dudes.
Today on the show, I'm gonna suck your blood. Just kidding. Today on the show, I am doing a vampire tattoo. I'm gonna take you through my step-by-step process of a color realism tattoo on this super cool vampire girl. Why don't you come along with me? I'm gonna break the whole thing down. You're gonna see how I do what I do right now.
Wear a turtleneck.
So as usual, the design process starts off on the iPad. I'm working from Photography Reference by the photographer Horrify Me. I am using this incredible vampire girl photo that he took, and I'm just doing a paint over in Procreate to kind of amp up some certain things. The photo is incredible, but as a tattoo, there's certain things that I see that I could just kind of adjust and tweak and also kind of make it my own. And then once I've got that where I like it, I'm going to draw up my own lines.
How's it going, man? Nice to meet you. Yeah, absolutely. Did I meet you at Empire?
Yeah.
Awesome. You got that too with Phil, right?
Yeah, that's one I'm brand new.
Sick, bro. Super excited, man. This is the piece that you do, right?
Yeah, Heel and Harry.
Dope. This is Jack. He's gonna be
What's up, man?
filming for us today. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, bro.
Yeah.
Going right above the Phil piece, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, all clear.
Beautiful.
And so now I'm looking at the spot and just kind of sizing it out. Just kind of eyeballing, what size I think might work best.
You always do your stencil in blue?
I do always, I always trace my stencil over there in blue for the most part, unless it's an image that has a lot of blue already. I find that it usually stands out against whatever I'm tracing on. And then it's dark enough in value at the same time that I can just desaturate and it goes right down to black lines to print out for my stencil. Picking out my colors, all Fusion ink. Many of which are from my signature set. I think I used just about every color from my Evan Olin signature set from Fusion in this one. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of interesting color dynamics, a lot of fun complementary color play.
It looks like you keep your colors really organized in value and where the colors are.
Yeah, man, I really, this is a very, meditative part of the process for me. I spend a lot of time picking out my colors and thinking about where I want them on my palette. It really is almost like a mental rehearsal for me putting these colors out.
Probably being consistent and organized probably helps, going time and time again. It's, you know where your black usually always is. Probably helps a lot.
For sure. Most definitely. And then as usual, I'm starting at the bottom and just kind of slowly working my way up. I mean, you can see here too, it's these sort of soft, out of focus tones right at the bottom. In the original reference, one of the things that I changed was the model had this sort of ornate jewelry on her neck. And I just painted over most of that, like with kind of out of focus, sort of wispy blood effects, and that way for the tattoo it just kind of creates more of a out of focus border, draws your eye up more into the more sharper focused details of the face.
Which is cool because I think a lot of people would want to hold on to all information that looks really sharp and tattooable. But you prioritizing.
I mean, yeah, priority, that's the name of the game. For me, when it comes to color realism especially, detail is great. I mean, I love capturing detail in my work, but if you have that same level of detail everywhere, it almost loses impact. So you really have to prioritize where you want your tight detailed areas. You can see I'm putting in some right now with the round shader. I'm putting in, the sharp little noodly edges of where the blood falls across her face. And then I'll also, in contrast to that, I'll have the 17 mag, I'll put in these big sort of out of focus, blended out areas.
So for people who aren't seeing it, you're switching back and forth with the needles you're using as you're going up still.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't do, for color realism, I'm not doing, a traditional outline first, all with a liner needle and then moving to a shader. I'm really just kind of bouncing back and forth between what the proper needle is for whatever the part of the tattoo. I think of it more as like different size paintbrushes. Right tool for the right job.
Yeah, totally.
And now we're filling in some of those midtones on the bottom half, starting to close in some gaps on the neck there. And as I'm moving up, I'm committing the stencil to places, and then I'm going back and I'm sort of filling in areas on the bottom as well.
You find you kind of filling in some areas too, just to kind of give yourself a sense of what it's going to look like moving forward, and
Yeah, I think it breaks it up from just blocking everything in as well. I like to have fun and sort of bounce around.
Probably satisfying too, right? You little bit of dessert before dinner's over.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, once I've got the stencil blocked in on 2/3 of the face, I'm going back and I'm not quite finishing areas on the bottom 1/3, but taking them pretty close. You can see I'm putting in a lot of those midtones down there, and then I'm going up and I'm just putting in the very first darkest tones on the upper part there. I mean, even in the forehead, it's a lot of lighter skin tones, so even those darkest tones are fairly light in value. Yeah, such really fun color play on this one. You can see as it gets to the far side of the face, really like muting back a lot of those tones, putting in those sort of, right now you can see like muddy, sort of dingy, almost like mixed in with greens on that side of the face. A lot of those again are my Fusion signature colors, the Shadow Core and Green Machine. And then as it goes towards the side of the face that's closest to the viewer, that's in the brightest light, we've got some brighter flesh tones. I've got a color called Sun Kissed. That's kind of like this golden skin tone. You can see it right there in some of the lightest areas of the cheek, and where the cheek kind of rolls up onto the nose there. And now I'm blocking in some hair with the mag. It's always a fun technique, is kind of calligraphing with the edge
kind of using the sides and the edges.
Yeah, using the edge of that 17 mag to kind of wisp in those hairs. It gives it a nice soft effect as opposed to using a liner.
And it seems like you're suggesting so much more detail than is actually happening.
Yeah, it keeps it from being like, if it was too sharp with the hair, like it almost would flatten out and wouldn't feel as realistic. It kind of is suggestive of like many strands of hair without actually having to have them all in there.
Yeah, because you're never gonna tattoo every single strand of hair.
No, and it wouldn't. Again, it wouldn't look realistic if you did. It would look almost flat and cartoony. Yeah, see how satisfying that is, cutting in those hairs with the side of the mag. I love that effect.
And its own texture that's you're not finding anywhere else in the tattoo, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
The blood splatter is very specific kind of shape and smeary, and the face is smooth and round as it goes over the cheeks and stuff. And the hair, it's really cool.
Yeah, you can see it really taking shape now, just kind of closing in those gaps up there. The whole stencil is committed at this point, so that takes off a bit of the pressure. Once there's no stencil still remaining, you can move a little bit freer throughout the tattoo, not having to worry about wiping that stencil away.
And now, even though your hair is black, I think it's cool that you'd see that you're using like a purplish, bluish kind of gray.
Yeah, that's actually another one of my colors. It's Storm Shadow by Fusion is a great really like grayed out, dingy purple.
Yeah, and you're using that to help close the gap a little bit between the highlight and the black, which is cool. You know, not just a gray or a brown. It's like a unconventional color, but it still makes it look like black, which is really rad.
And it just adds another layer of color complexity. You know, I'll always, go in favor of color versus just sort of more monochromatic grays or whenever I can. I think it always just adds a little bit of richness to the tattoo.
That's cool. And you see in the face too, those tones. I think a lot of people would maybe be intimidated to jump right in with like army green or that blue over there, but it works. It's sick.
I think as long as you keep your hand motions kind of wispy and keep those blends really soft, it's kind of incredible what you can get away with in terms of color, and I think not only get away with it, but I think it makes things a little more interesting and a little more dynamic and rich than if it was just more kind of expected skin tones
and more realistic, right?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, light is always bouncing off things, and that affects the color of them.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
Now I've got a round shader. I'm kind of fine tuning some of the smaller details. Yeah, really going back and just tightening things up, and you can see now I'm starting to put white in there, really just kind of finishing up areas. That's always the last thing, or almost the last thing I do in an area is, when I go in and put that white into an area, it's kind of finishing up. And I spent the whole tattoo really closing in those gaps, so that's really the last gap, is those
that
little spaces.
Pinpoint highlight away. Yeah.
And so satisfying once I get them in there.
And it's gonna hold it much better too, it seems. It's
Yeah. I mean, I always think you should make a home for white rather than, just leaving, a big area of, open skin that doesn't have defined borders. That if you make a nice little gap where that white's gonna go, it's really gonna hold in place so much better. Even when the white starts to sort of soften and fade over time, because it will. I mean, it's the lightest tone. If you really put pigment all the way around it, it's really gonna keep the effect of the white and that highlight, even as the pigment starts to sort of soften and fade.
Yeah, it'll still remain the brightest point. That's cool. Ooh, got those eyes in there now.
I love those eyes, man. That was another thing, we sort of adjusted from the original reference. I like whenever I can to have like a little pop of complementary color interest in the eyes. There's so much red in the blood and warmth that having that kind of like lime green in the eyes, I felt like really sort of set them off. Now brushing in some background on that side. Just kind of fill off the rest of the tattoo, make it feel more complete. Like it's not just, an edge and then it's just, his skin just kind of floating there. I want to work the entire tattoo all the way around, make all the edges kind of fan off as elegantly as I can into the surrounding skin.
And it's cool too to hear that there's so much thought that goes into each part like that, like even the eye choice or the kind of feathering off at the end, you're using other colors to inform this decision, the eyes are this color because it's going to pop off the red, the back is soft because everything's sharp in the middle, it seems like it's just a little thing, but they're all working together. It's like you know what you're doing.
Almost like I know what I'm doing. There's a method to this madness, almost. Yeah, man, you can really see this is it. Just finishing up those last highlights. This is probably about an 8.5 hour tattoo. We're coming to the close of. Just tightening up those last few details. It's such a fun piece to work on.
Yeah, really rad to watch it all come together. See you kind of going back, putting those little tiny highlights and magging in some of those lighter colors, really softened up and round the face up too.
Mm-hmm.
Shoo!
Oh yeah.
Wow, dude. About how long did that take?
Yeah, about 8.5 hours, I would guess. Super, super fun. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. Please like and subscribe for more videos just like this one. If you have any questions about my process, drop a comment below, and I'd love to hear what you guys think.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Thanks.